Well, we stepped into December, and Derrell, where are we as far as the cattle and beef markets go as we move on into December?
You know, right now we look pretty good. We've seen some nice, positive moves in these cattle markets. Feeder cattle markets have generally improved, especially the calf markets here in the last 3 or 4 weeks. Fed cattle prices are kind of grinding their way to somewhat better prices. Box beef prices have been very strong. So, we're moving into the last part of the year here in pretty good shape.
So are we still moving in that direction when it comes to beef supply?
You know, beef production is actually up a little bit, which, again, that speaks well to the higher box beef prices. Slaughter is still down a little bit, although it depends on what category you look at. In recent weeks, steer slaughter's been up, but heifer slaughter's been down. Beef cow slaughter is coming in very close to year-ago levels here. And the overall, but of course, carcass weights have been high. They've probably peaked seasonally, but they've been very high. So the bottom line is beef production has been up about 1.5% here in the last 6 weeks or so.
Well, that's good news. So there's the supply for it. Is there a demand for that beef?
Well, again, the box beef price has been strong. In fact, somewhat remarkably strong. Probably we will see that pull back a little bit, but I've been watching different product markets to try to assess kind of beef demand this year. Ribeyes have been very strong, for example, but with food service curtailed and restaurants being diminished, we've got kind of surging COVID issues right now. We've got colder weather, which shuts down outdoor seating, and so things like ribeye or tenderloins are actually down from last year. On the other hand, grocery store demand remains very strong, and consumers are actually kind of stocking up a little bit. So we're seeing some good, strong demand for some of the end meats as well.
That's something that I first learned about during the shutdown earlier this year. The demand of a restaurant versus the consumer, is that something that could be adjusted as we move into 21 next year?
Well, I think that's part of the issue. Wintertime beef demand is a little different composition of products, if you will, and we've got some challenges ahead. Certainly as we look towards next year, there's reasons to be cautiously optimistic. I think the wintertime might be a little bit rough and potentially pretty risky, but obviously we hopefully have a vaccine coming that's going to change the picture as we move through 2021. Not only that, the beef supply fundamentals are looking a little bit better in general for next year. Export markets will probably recover somewhat. So there's reasons to be cautiously optimistic, but there's a lot of risk and a lot of uncertainty, particularly here in the short run.
Now, on the other side of that, the cattle producers are putting cattle out on wheat, and there is that cautious optimism from the folks that I've talked to. What advice do you have for those cattle producers as they move on out of 20 into 21?
Well, I think the volatility is still the big issue. There's a lot of uncertainty, even though, sort of on net, the picture looks somewhat positive right now, but there's a lot of risk in this market. So, we've seen futures markets extremely volatile. And what that says is when, if you need some risk protection, when you get those opportunities, you better take advantage of them, because they're certainly likely to be more of that volatility. So I think risk management is going to play an even more important role than normal in the next few months or so.
Thank you very much, Dr. Derrell Peel, Livestock Marketing Specialist here at Oklahoma State University.